Slim the Kid is back. Thank you for tuning in to a brand new episode of Round 2 Wrestling here on the 5th of July, 2022. Once again, I am Slim the Kid, and I personally want to thank you for tuning into this brand new podcast. A lot of things have happened in the world of professional wrestling. We have a ton of things to discuss in the rumor mill, a ton of things to talk about in the world of news in the professional wrestling world, results because there was a pay-per-view this past weekend, WWE's Money in the Bank, and of course our fan favorite, Did You Know? Little bits of facts and information about the wrestling world that you may or may not have known about. So let's jump right into this podcast by taking a listen to the rumor mill. PW Insider reports both Sasha Banks and Naomi are still listed as active on the Raw roster. Neither have been officially released. Sources close to Ariel Helwani report Logan Paul's WWE contract is a multi-year, multi-event contract. A side note, with this announcement, rumor that Logan Paul has signed a multi-year, multi-event contract, it's also rumored that his character will be strictly a babyface because Paul is representing himself and negotiating these terms by himself. Now, once again, this is just a rumor. It'll take some time to see whether or not this is actual news or whether or not this is just a big old rumor sitting in the rumor mill. AEW Santana suffers a brutal knee injury at AEW Blood and Guts this past Wednesday in Detroit, Michigan. Brian Alvarez reports a torn ACL, MCL, ligaments, and basically whatever is in there. Fightful speculates there has been some sort of fallout between AEW Santana and Ortiz. Neither have competed together as a tag team in months. In addition, Santana has been booking indie gigs without Ortiz. Dave Meltzer reports WWE plans to feature Liv Morgan versus Ronda Rousey for the Women's SmackDown title at this year's SummerSlam. Acting WWE CEO Stephanie McMahon held a company-wide meeting according to WrestleVotes. PW Insider reports the meeting was about pushing WWE as, quote, one big family, end quote. The injury bug invades WWE. Dave Meltzer reports Kevin Owens is injured, but it is nothing serious and will return sooner rather than later. Wrestling Observer Live's Andrew Zarian says Ring of Honor's next pay-per-view, Death Before Dishonor, very well received by Warner Bros. Executives. That is the plan for the pay-per-view. Warner Bros. Executives are looking for more AEW pay-per-views, and this particular request from them could also indicate a TV or streaming deal has been achieved for either AEW, Ring of Honor, or both. Alright, no more rumors to speculate about, so let's jump over to something that's a little bit more factual. This is the news coming out of the world of professional wrestling. MLW, Major League Wrestling, signs a broadcast deal with United Kingdom TV, AOZOT TV, on Sky. This premieres this Wednesday at 9 p.m. Former AEW wrestler and Dark Order member Alan Five Angels debuted for Impact this past Friday. According to Daytona Beach News Journal, Sonny Sitch again in court June 30th, 2022. Sitch is seeking public representation while her search for a new private defender continues. After being briefly released on bond, she returned to jail after her bond was revoked and has remained there since. Also, to go along with this bit of news, Miss Sitch's boyfriend is also being not held in contempt of but has been reported harassing other attorneys and other members regarding this case, and a judge has stepped forward and said if his actions do not stop, he will be held in contempt of court, which would only hurt Sonny Sitch's case in the long run. AEW wrestler added to the upcoming Ric Flair Last Match pay-per-view. Rey Fenix will fight fellow AAA Mexico wrestlers Torres, Bandito, and the Laredo Kid in a four-way bout. A report from Give Me Sport: undefeated boxing champion Tyson Fury in talks with WWE in a return to the squared circle. Fury's one and only match in WWE came at Crown Jewel on October 31st, 2019 against Braun Strowman. Former WWE wrestler Nia Jax calls out WES, which is short for Wrestling Entertainment Series, for false advertisement at their debut live card. Jax announced June 23rd she would not appear at WES, but has since been featured on advertising material regardless of her cancellation. Not a good thing to do if you're trying to jumpstart a wrestling promotion, but what do I know? I'm just standing on the sideline. Maybe there's more to this story than is being told, but like we like to say here on Round 2 Wrestling, only time will tell. All right, now to jump over to the results that took place this past weekend and week. There is a ton of promotions here in the U.S., Canada, Japan, Europe, wherever, and it is impossible to follow all the titles and all the title belts by any one person. So I personally, Round 2 Wrestling Slim to Kid, is proud to give you those results week in and week out so you can stay up to date on what is going on in the professional wrestling world. Liv Morgan defeated Asuka, Alexa Bliss, Raquel Rodriguez, Lacey Evans, Shotzi, and Becky Lynch to win the WWE Women's Money in the Bank match. Bobby Lashley defeated Austin Theory to win the United States Championship. Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair defeated Carmella to retain the Raw Women's Championship. United Tag Champions the Usos defeated the Street Profits to retain both tag team titles. SmackDown Women's Champion Ronda Rousey defeated Natalya to retain the title. Liv Morgan cashed in her Money in the Bank contract the same night that she won it and challenged Ronda Rousey to the SmackDown Women's Championship, which Liv Morgan promptly won. Austin Theory defeated Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, Sheamus, Madcap Moss, Omos, and Riddle to win the WWE Men's Money in the Bank match. Hiroki Goto, Yoshi-Hashi, and Yo defeated Evil, Yujiri Takahashi, and Sho to win the Never Openweight 6-man tag team titles. TBS champion Jade Cargill defeated Layla Gray to retain the TBS championship. Brody King wins the 20-man Royal Rampage Battle Royal to challenge AEW intern champion Jon Moxley this Wednesday on AEW Dynamite. NWA Women's Tag Team Champion Pretty Empowered defeated the Hex to retain the NWA Women's Championship. Alright, that is it for titles that were defended this past week. We will move over to the newest and best part of the show. This is the fan favorite and my favorite as well. Did you know our little bits of information and facts about wrestlers, promotions, anything pertaining to the world of professional wrestling that you may or may not have known about? Did you know Nick Bockwinkel was a 4-time AWA World Champion for a combined 2,990 days? Did you know AEW wrestler Colt Cabana's brother Greg Colton is an animation director for the cartoon Family Guy? Did you know Arn Anderson wrestled for over 18 years? Dusty Rhodes was his most frequent opponent. The two met 140 times, with Anderson's win-loss record at 4 wins, 131 losses, and 5 draws. Did you know Edwin Bibby is considered the first recognized professional wrestling world champion, defeating Duncan C. Ross in 1881? Did you know only 9 men held a world title and no secondary title in WWE? These include Ivan Koloff, Stan Stasiak, Billy Graham, Sergeant Slaughter, Great Khali, Goldberg, Psycho Sid, Buddy Rogers, and Brock Lesnar. Did you know Chavo Guerrero Jr. has his own beer brand called Los Guerreros? Did you know Hulk Hogan's debut match at Madison Square Garden took place December 17th, 1979? Hogan fought Ted DiBiase and won his match via a bear hug. Did you know the first pro wrestling arcade game was entitled Big Pro Wrestling and debuted in 1983? Did you know Bam Bam Bigelow's skull tattoo cost an estimated $4,500? Did you know the late Dusty Rhodes made Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood into a tag team during their time in NXT? Their team name at the time, the Mechanics. Did you know in 1980, WWF champion Bob Backlund defeated the original Sheik in a cage match to win the NWA US title, Detroit version? All right, that is it. That is the conclusion of Round 2 Wrestling. I am Slim the Kid, and I personally want to thank you again for tuning in to this brand new podcast. I also want to take time out of my day to thank Ultimate Championship Wrestling in Saginaw, Michigan. This wrestling promotion has once again given me an opportunity to get into the squared circle and referee some matches and just cut my teeth once again in the world of professional wrestling. If you are in the greater Bay Area or live in Saginaw, be sure to check out UCW at the UCW Arena in Saginaw, Michigan. Speaking of which, this Saturday we have a live pay-per-view at the UCW Arena. Game On 2.1 will feature a handicap match 2-on-1 for the UCW Ultimate Championship. Once again, I am Slim the Kid, and I want to thank you for tuning in to this episode. Please tune in next week as we bring you more news, more rumors, and more results from the world of professional wrestling. Round 2 Wrestling is brought to you by Slim the Kid and Spreaker.com.